Matt,
IBM Cloud Pak for Multicloud Management
has one distinguishing feature that I believe by itself justifies the selection into our EMA top 3 for hybrid cloud management, and that is the separation between governance over data and applications. And the reason why I'm saying that, I have seen it so many times where developers coded around data compliance rules, and the data guys thought everything is fine, but the developers had too much access and and just opened the door to misuse and vulnerabilities. That's key for your platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think it really goes down to that we take the governance and the compliance to a desired state model using policy as code. And really, you can't get around that code. If the policy says that production environments need to be configured this way, certain certificate policies, certain data policies, you can't go change those. They're attached to the application and to the infrastructure as it gets deployed. And even as you move that from AWS to Azure to VMware to OpenShift, right, wherever you're moving it, those policies go along with the application and ensure that those guardrails are in place no matter what, right? And so you can't code around them.
Pratik, how do you pull this off? It sounds like magic, right? It solves that old problem of me deploying something to Kubernetes cluster A and opening up, inviting people to attack my app because of certain configuration settings that was perfectly safe on my other cluster. How do you do that?
There are a couple of principles we use to make sure there's separation of duties, right? Understanding who is allowed to define a policy and who is allowed to deploy a policy. So we use separate files which are used for setting up a policy and separate files which are used for scoping a policy to a specific environment. And then obviously allowing those policies to operate independent of each other. Where is the app where it's supposed to be deployed is one policy. How is the system configured? That's another policy. And when they come together is where you see the marriage of what the app wants to do versus what it can do. And that is the beauty of bringing together all the development side and the operation side and the security side together.
And Matt, from a cultural perspective, this is really the core of what is needed for shifting left and for embedding security into DevOps, right?
Absolutely. And in fact, we've started using the phrase internally at IBM, start left, instead of shift left, really start left, right? So bring security concerns, right, compliance concerns to the table from the get-go. So when I started my IDE and I build up my initial project with my code repositories, I should have the policies pulled in. I need a PCI compliant microservice. Great. You're probably going to want to attach these policies to it from the get-go. So they're really, if we bring that into the beginning of the cycle, again, start left with those pieces. And then you're building this stuff in. Again, it's all bits of code that are going on, stored in GitHub, using things like GitOps as a principle that you can move this across the lifecycle. And then when it makes its way into production environments, everybody's using the same declarative, written in code language to describe the policy of where it's supposed to be. And it means things don't slip through the cracks too, right? It means that developers also, when they're testing in their environment, they should be able to test with the same policies as well to understand, am I going to have to come back and fix something? Because when the security guys come and test it later, they're going to give me this long list of things that I have to go fix. Happens all the time. Happens to us when we try to ship code. We do things called pen testing, right? And people say, go fix all these bugs before you can ship. Yeah. Right? The idea is if you start left, hopefully you can be more efficient in delivering code that's also secure.
Start left, I like it. Thank you very much, Matt, Pratik.
Thank you.